So far we have created a shortcode and displayed this shortcode in the grid of the CPTs. Now let's see how we can use attributes to change the output of a shortcode. For instance, in this shortcode, if we just say limit is equal to maybe 3 and then update it. Right now if we try to reload this page, nothing happens because we are not getting these attributes and using these attributes right over here. Okay, let's try to use these attributes, and instead of where it says post per pages, let's use this attribute. And we are receiving its limit, right, as we have seen in the last lecture. So let's just save it, and if we try to go back and try to reload, now grid is showing a maximum of 3 books. So if we change it to limit is equal to 2 and now try to update, now this time if we try to reload, now the limit is to just show 2 books. Now let's see what happens if someone does not provide the limit attribute. So if we just delete it and try to reload, update it and then try to reload, you will notice that there will be an error. You see right over here, if we click on it, it says illegal string offset limit. So what it is saying that on the line 56 where we are using this attribute right over here is not defined in this array of ads. To overcome this problem, WordPress provided us a function where we can define our default values for our attributes. And if the user defines the attribute in the shortcode, those values will be overridden. Let me show you how it's done. For the purpose of this technique, we use a WordPress provided function that is shortcode ads. And let's see what are the parameters that it holds. First of all, this requires a pairs of key value pairs for the array. And then second parameter is the attributes itself, which should be used to update override these pairs. And the last value is the shortcode itself, like which shortcode is used for this shortcode attributes. Let me fill out these links, parameters. Let's just, so we are using updating a book underscore list shortcode as seen right over here. In the attributes, we are receiving these attributes that will be overriding the pairs. Now right over here we need to provide the pairs in a key value pair as an array. So let's just pass an array, and inside this array let's reformat. First is that limit, and whatever value we define will be the default value for this limit. For instance, if we write 3 and now if we try to save it, go back and try to reload this page, this one on the front end, you see nothing happens because ads is still the same. Let me show you what it means. Right over here, if we are just using this shortcode attributes, but we have not updated this ads right over here. So what we can do is that we can just update it like this and assign the value of shortcode ads to this ads attribute we have already receiving. It's like a smart technique to use. We can do another thing, like we can use args and then afterwards we can use this args right here, but it's not a good technique and also involves an extra memory space. So let's just update this attributes and update it value with the default of key value pairs. Now if we just save it and try to go back, this time if we try to reload, there is no error and the limit is now working fine. Let's go back. In here there is no limit. Let's define a limit, and this time we are going to override the default value of limit defined over here. So let's go back, override it with the value of 2. Let's update and go back. Now if we try to reload, this should be limited to 2 custom post types. Now where we have defined this limit, we have used a random number, a positive number of 3. But it's a good idea to always use the WordPress functions wherever you can. For instance, in this option, we can just get the option of post per pages from the WordPress database. So post per page. and it should be posts per page. So if we just save it now, try to go back and try to reload, nothing will happen because we are overriding its value with this limit. Now if we try to remove this limit override, and now if we try to update and reload this page, now it is showing 4 because now it is getting its value of limit from the post per pages options. So where it is defined, if we go back and go to the settings and let's reading, blog post show at most. So this is the value it is getting for our limit attribute. Now if we change it to like 2, save it, what happens now is that its value has become 2. So our default value of limit is now 2. Now if we go back and you see there is no overridden in this shortcode, and now if we try to reload, these should be showing 2 values, 2 posts. So instead of defining our own value, we are using the options that are saved by the user for its website. So if we change it to like 3 or maybe 2, only one value or one post will be shown on the front end. Right? If we reload, so this is how we can benefit from the WordPress default options. Next, we shall see how we can change the output of a shortcode using these attributes.